content allows you to also, form that relationship. One of the things that my coach says is, when I get on a phone call, most people sell, I close, because I have a core content that's already pre-framed my buyer or customer or whoever the case might be. Maybe you're trying to actually, you're trying to help someone in the coaching. Do you have any additional thoughts on that? Because I know you talked about it in your book, and I can't plug it enough. Content 10X, of course.
Thank you.
There's so much good stuff in there that you talk about. But because we're going to get to the repurposing piece in a second, and I want to create a little bridge. What is it that it does for someone when you're creating that content? Would you look at it as that forming a relationship without even having physically met them?
Yeah. So have you heard of this, like the Google study that they coined the term like zero moment of truth, like ZMOT or ZMOT, whatever, but the zero moment of truth. And it basically was this study that Google did, and they determined, so it was called like 7, 11 and 4, and they determined that for people to really feel like they know somebody, they need to spend 7 hours with that person in 11 different interactions in 4 different locations. But the beauty of this is that isn't like the old days of 7 hours on the golf course and 11 interactions and, meals and all of that. This can be achieved online. So we can feel, if we spend 7 hours with somebody through listening to their podcast, watching their videos, social media, 7 hours in total of time with that person digitally. And then if you think about it, I guess this is like the bridge to repurposing, but then if you think about, 7 hours and then 11 interactions, that could be different podcast episodes or different videos, different Instagram posts, etc. And the different locations, again, we've just named different platforms, so you're hanging out with them on Apple Podcasts, but also on their website and also on YouTube or whatever. But when you do that, you create this feeling that you know that person as well as if you had spent that time with them in person. The brain doesn't actually distinguish between whether it was in person or not. So when a celebrity like dies or something like that, and we cry and get upset about it, and we never ever met them before, our brain doesn't actually know that we didn't meet them. Our brain thinks of all those hours that we spent together, like all those precious hours that we spent with Kobe Bryant or whatever it may be. We didn't, but our brain thinks we did. And so with content, it is that, isn't it? Like, to your point about, if you get on the phone to somebody who's been consuming your content and they've achieved that zero moment of truth because they've had that 7, 11 and 4 and more, then it's like meeting an old friend or something like that. So if you sell into them, the question's probably more going to be a few clarifying questions than the close, versus the entire dance of getting them to know you and like you and trust you, and then go to like questions and close. You're already there, aren't you? You are at their zero moment of truth already, basically. Are they going to go ahead or not? They've probably just got a few questions to ask you, and that's it. So I think it is everything in how you know what content can achieve.